professional as always. Just
Brad, I was literally just thinking this in the shower because I often think of you in the shower, which is it's a free podcast, absolutely giving their money's worth.
where's this light turn?
Jeez, if I could stop bleeding like a stuck pig, that'd be nice.
Well, if you want to stop the bleeding of the pain of deploying Windows updates, Smart Deploy has an offer for you. Smart Deploy allows IT departments to re-image unlimited computer models from one golden image. Search their library for your models and grab your exclusive free licenses at smartdeploy.com/therot. That's some pro-grade stuff right there. I feel like you're struggling today. Like this
I'm okay.
Yeah, are you sure?
Everything's been behind schedule today for me. Everything. I can't explain it.
Well, the only thing that did show up on schedule was this guy.
Yeah. Talk to us, Brad. How is it?
So I'm going to give a spoiler alert. The review will probably be done early next week, but here's what it boils down to. So the latency is about the same as xCloud. So it's fine for first player. It's not great for multiplayer, but it's usable. That's fine. Whatever.
I'm sorry to interrupt. How are you doing it? Like, what's the connection?
So this guy connected to the Chromecast Ultra on this TV behind me.
Okay, so it's wireless. This is the one wireless scenario.
Yep. This is how it comes in the box. I figure this is the
optimal
normal way people might play this. I am going to try it actually playing it on this thing, the Surface Book 2 here a little bit later. Okay. But here's my problem with or the challenge or whatever you want to call it. So xCloud and Stadia roughly equal on latency. And so where people are going to get mad is that I will give it a pass to xCloud, not because it's in preview.
Right.
But here's why. When you buy Stadia, you are buying this product. You are buying this streaming thing. That's all you get.
Yeah.
In xCloud is a feature. It's not the product. It's something that you can be like, you know what? Let me just play a little bit.
It's another way to play the games that you've purchased or get as part of a subscription.
Right. And if you want the best experience, you fire up your Xbox and you're fine. With Stadia, this is as good as it gets. Like until they improve the back end, which they might, but I think we can all argue that last 10% is the absolute hardest. Yeah. And so right now, Stadia is not a great experience because it's not as good as a local console, but that's what they're pitching. And so...
Right. They could fix the all the latency and performance problems easily. They could just go to Azure.
I don't even know if that... Well, that's where Stadia...
Sorry.
I thought you were going to say console. I was like, well, console, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here's an idea. I build a hardware device, right? No, hold on a second. And you download the games... I'm just throwing it out there.
I know. And then you have that local compute, and then you can stream some of the stuff like where the players are in multiplayer
the way
games.
You future-proof it, this is the genius part of the plan, is when you buy a game for this thing, in the future, you can stream it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm more bullish on what Microsoft is doing because, again, this thing can coexist alongside Xbox, and Microsoft can ride this out until they perfect the technology.
That's right.
Google doesn't really have the best track record of riding out a technology or an application until it's perfected. Here's the flash in the pan. It's really great. It either works really well or it gets readered or waved or buzzed or whatever because they stop trying.
Yeah. No, Google has the attention span of a gnat. I mean, they're, which is interesting because I often complain about Microsoft not being able to finish the job. And Google is obviously an even worse example of that. I mean, my God, they don't even, they often, they just canceled CloudPrint this week, right? So CloudPrint is a product that's literally been in beta for 10 years. Mm-hmm. At least they kept it around for 10 years, but.
Yeah. So to me, like after trying it, I think this is a colossal win, at least so far for xCloud because.
Oh, okay. That's like, right. Okay.
Yeah, no. Stadia isn't, I think, in trouble until they figure that latency out because, again, it's not a big deal if I'm playing Destiny sitting in my hotel room every once in a while or I'm upstairs or whatever. But to come down and play every single day with that latency would become an issue. Not to mention the other problem is, too, getting into a multiplayer game takes a bit of time because there's not a lot of people.
Right.
Not a lot of people there.
So. How's the controller from a quality compared to Xbox controllers
I
perspective?
dug out my old PlayStation 4 Batman or whatever, the DualShock 4. I mean, these things,
Are they similar in size? Yeah, it looks
they're kissing cousins. Like,
but let's see. Yeah, that's interesting. It's weird because it's shaped more like an Xbox controller, but it looks like it's smaller.
yeah,
A little bit small.
it's kind of it's about the same. Yeah,
that's
so
fine.
it's, I don't know. I still much prefer the offset design of the Xbox controller over this. It's from a controller, it's fine. The only thing that's somewhat disappointing is that Google had the chance to wipe the slate, start completely fresh. Right. And what they came up with was a controller that's very similar to PlayStation and not as good as the Xbox. I mean, it's like you're Google, like you have infinite resources. Maybe, I don't know, try something different instead of building a 1994 PC peripheral that everybody's seen before.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's that. We'll see. We'll see how this weekend goes, how much time I get to play with it.
Right.
Because I'm going to be doing a lot of basement gallivanting. I've ordered things, Paul.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Brad Vila has a lot of tasks this weekend.
Yep.
Including, it's probably going to start right after this podcast. I got to clean this place up. The older I get, the more I finally understand why my dad was so anal about putting tools back where you found them.
Yeah.
Like, I've become like really anal about it, doing this specifically.
It's tools. It's everything. Like, how do you find anything? Like, if I leave anything in the wrong place, like a phone, a wallet, whatever, it's like a 3-star emergency all of a sudden. Because you just have it's just like a muscle memory. Like, if it's not there, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then other things that are actually happening that people might care about. It's Surface earbuds. If you're looking to put those in your stocking, you can. You can probably put it in next year, maybe, if they come.
It's still there.
Yeah, that's what I was.
6 months. Yep.
Yep.
I don't see this as a big emergency.
You weren't rushing out to buy one, Paul? Or buy a
No, I wasn't. But I mean, I don't really think many people were, to be honest. It's a peripheral. It's a side business. It's, look, they announced. They announced, I guess, technically 5 computers, but we're very clear that 2 were coming next year, and they delivered all of those. Those are job one for Surface, right? So the new Surface computers are out in the world, and by all accounts, Surface Laptop 3 and Surface Pro X are in many ways new devices. I mean, I know Laptop 3 technically isn't, but AMD processor and so forth. So that to me was the important stuff. So yeah, Surface headphones or earphones, earbuds, whatever, delayed a couple of months. I mean, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, and they'll arrive in the spring. I bet it wouldn't surprise me if they show up around like a Surface Book 3 timeline, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I also here's some conspiracy theory based on no facts whatsoever kind of idea.
My favorite.
Yeah. I'm listening. Is what if this delay has something to do with Cortana? What if they want to make these buds compatible with multiple assistants, much like Windows is, much like Xbox is?
So that's
an idea.
That's an interesting one.
Again, based on nothing, but
right?
I think it's something they should do. I mean, if you're going to be assistant agnostic, you should be assistant agnostic everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I could. I mean, so maybe there's some evidence to this, because they just killed Cortana outside the U.S. for mobile devices.
Right.
So the earbuds shouldn't really ship worldwide without that app, right?
That's a good point, right? Exactly. How would you even use it?
Yeah.
Interesting. See, that's how conspiracy theories work. It makes sense. I saw smoke over there. If it was one shooter, it couldn't have been over there. Just saying. By the way, it was one shooter, but
I didn't think we were going down the JFK route, but yet here we are.
JFK is very clear. Unfortunately, it was one guy. But Surface earbuds, that one's still up in the air. We can go to town on that one.
I could buy into this theory. Let's have Mahedi write it so it's a fact. No.
Right.
Mahedi, we need you to start a conspiracy.
Mahedi, listen, we have a source that told us that we need you to write it up so it doesn't come back to us.
Yeah. Be real confident, extra confident. Use words like absolutely sure.
Multiple sources. Just write it like sources close to The Verge told us that.
Oh my God. Just
Just do it like that.
We're just actively plotting his downfall on a live podcast. This is wonderful. Mahedi, I hope you're watching.
I thought no one was listening. People watch this?
Microsoft also confirmed a thing we already knew, that, desktop apps on Windows 10X.
Yeah, but I'm still in containers. I'm still very interested in the details there, right? Because Microsoft has added a feature to Windows 10 called Sandbox, which at the time I wrote about as, look, this is a step toward this future where desktop apps are run in containers. I wasn't thinking about Windows 10X or what we would have called Light OS or Windows Light at the time, but clearly to move this platform forward, separating applications from the operating system, kind of virtualizing the platform for the apps makes tons of sense.
Yeah.
And Windows Sandbox is a complete Windows environment, so it's not exactly the thing, but it could be a step, And there's something called Windows Server Containers, which I'm not 100% familiar with. I can't claim to know actually anything other than the name, but I do kind of wonder if some combination of these technologies or some new iteration of these technologies will result in what is essentially a local application-based virtualization platform. Something like if you're in the enterprise, Microsoft used to have, probably still has, something called AppV, application virtualization, and the idea is you would deploy these things over the network, and they would install in your system. They would look like the version of the OS you were running, so they would take on whatever the Chrome was, and it was just a single application, right? Not a whole Windows install. So, we'll see, but interesting. I mean, so we're edging closer to the full story.
Yeah, we will. We'll see. I just would like to load it onto my stuff now, but
yeah, no, I totally want to play with this.
If only they had some sort of program where they could ship
like an early
builds
access kind of a thing,
Windows to certain groups that are opting
like
in,
insiders of a kind.
Yeah, and use some sort of ring system so that only
like
people, who want this experimental.
It's like you could choose how often you wanted to get updates.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. You should submit that. If only they had like a feedback hub, you could recommend that.
So let's talk about the feedback hub. I'm convinced that thing is just a desolate wasteland of ideas. That what I expect happens is the Windows team, when somebody wants a raise, they go in there and just scroll through the ideas, pull out like 6 of them, and then propose it in a meeting as solely their own ideas.
Right. But then the rest of the ideas that are in there, or more important, the complaints, are just subtly ignored.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, no awards are giving for plugging the holes. So,
right.
It's whatever.
Anyways. I don't know. I feel like, it's like the argument, like we should celebrate teachers like we celebrate celebrities. Is like we should celebrate the software engineers who fix problems instead of the people who invent new stuff we don't need. Yeah.
I wonder if Apple could adopt that. That would be great too.
They do adopt it, Brad, every 2 years.
Strangely accurate. And
yep.
So when was the last time they said that? Was that iOS 12? Was that when they introduced the iPhone?
Yeah, so after iOS 11 happened, everything went to shit, and they were like, okay, we're going to fix this problem. And that's when they came out with the battery life stuff. Remember, they started coming improvements in iOS 12. They punted some features for the future, and they said, we're going to focus on quality. And by all accounts, it was of higher quality. But, Bloomberg has like a nice little chart where they looked at like the number of fixes that came out for iOS after each release. And it's like this little bar chart, and then it hits 13 and it's like zoop, and it goes way up. It's almost double. And it will ultimately, it probably will be double. This is like the buggiest release ever.
Yeah. Well, there was rumor that next year there's going to be they're going to update the design of the phone, I think, right? Because this would be, they've done 3 iterations now at the current.
3 major designs, you mean? Like, okay. Well, maybe. Yeah, okay. I guess 4. I would say 4, right? The classic, the original, the iPhone 4.
Yeah. Sorry. I was thinking more of like they have the iPhone X, the XS, and then the 11.
You mean a fourth model? Yeah,
the 4th generation of like this style, right? The giant notch on the top.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. Completely misunderstood. Yes. Okay.
So if they do a redesign next year from, getting into, I also thought about this too. I'll complain about it in a second. Anyways, so it would be much easier for them to say like, hey, the OS is mostly the same, but we have this brand new design, right? Like from a talking point perspective.
I see. Yep.
Also from a talking point perspective, I don't know why this made me so angry. I think somebody tweeted about like next year they need to, or 2020, they need to update the keyboard cover that comes with the iPad to have a trackpad because, that's what everyone wants and the planet support.
Well, by the way Apple's rolling these days, I mean, it does seem like some switch was flipped. That switch was the "don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, Johnny." But it really, right? I mean, all of a sudden, they're starting to do things they said they would never do, or they just ignore it or whatever.
So I can already picture how this is going to go down. It already makes me angry. Tim Cook will be on stage. It'll be a black background or whatever, keynote slide, whatever the hell they do. And then there'll be that dumb smoke animation when they they usually do like a price cut, and it'll just say trackpad, and it'll do that, and everyone will be like, ah! And then I'm gonna go postal in my house. My dog is gonna be the victim, and
just watch that Bill Burr skit, by the way, where he's like, he finally came to understand that his dog like feeds off of his emotions, and he's like going nice like that, a frickin' ref, and the dog's like, rawr, rawr. That's exactly what it's like. Yep.
Yep, it's coming, and it's.
Oh yeah. So. And by the way, I just for them, I mean, I think it makes sense. It's a good business decision. That will sell iPads.
Yeah, it will.
It is a simple device. It runs all these productivity apps. Mm-hmm. God, just take that extra step, and you will get so many more customers. There are all kinds of people who, now granted, it's going to hurt them a little bit on the Mac end, but there are people who are using these complex and expensive computers. Most of them are Windows computers, so it wouldn't hurt, for the most part. And, they want something simpler. And Chromebook is, one route, and it has its issues for sure. But the iPad it could be another route, but they need this thing, it's like touch on Windows. This is the thing that kills me, because there are people who are adamantly against either one of those things, And my response to that is the addition of this feature doesn't impact you if you don't want to use it.
Right.
It just doesn't impact you. Don't buy the keyboard cover that has the trackpad. Don't worry about it. It doesn't. It can still work the way it did before. It's fine. It's so pragmatic and obvious.
Yep.
The Apple we've known so far would never do what we just described. But I don't know. They just fixed the keyboard. And by keyboard, I mean by fixing, I mean literally went back in the Michael Crichton time machine and used the 2015 version of the keyboard they already had. But whatever, you know what? It's better.
Yeah,
Good.
This is one of those times you could ask me, like, what would Steve Jobs have done? And he would have literally not gotten rid of the perfect keyboard.
Well, okay, fair. That's true. That's a good point.
I mean, I don't think anybody ever looked at the old keyboard and said, this thing isn't great.
No one ever complained about the old keyboard.
No, I love that keyboard.
Yes, it was, dare I say, nearly for the day. I think the one thing that's happened since then, the old MacBook Air keyboard, which I assume is identical on the Pros, is we have moved to a world where the throws are less than they used to be. They're a little less, like it's like a stick shift. You want the short throws, like in a performance car. And I kind of welcome that. Apple's new keyboard is still a little too short of a throw, I think.
Yep.
Having never used it, obviously, I have a command of it. But it's just based on what I've seen of other keyboards. I mean, 1.3, 1.4 millimeters is kind of perfect these days, or what we consider perfect. So yeah, they could have that, but that's easy to change. If you don't change the entire keyboard design.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, there we go. What do you got going on this weekend, Paul?
Yeah, kind of a busy weekend, actually. I don't know. I'm getting close to winding down that Notepad app.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're getting close to running the Ethernet cable. I was so proud of you.
Actually, I'm going to see a guy tonight.
I know a guy
who might be helping me with this process.
Wow.
So he's actually going to come over here. So I'm going to ask him to take a look at it. What I really mean is I'll make the drinks. I'll hold stuff for you.
Mm-hmm. I do have a top tip for people. And this is whatever. So arriving the 25th, if anybody wants to come to my house between the hours of 4 and 6 p.m., I will have 18 sheets of insulation board delivered, 85 2x2x8s, which are sometimes known as furring strips, 165 dry core panels, which are 2x2 squares that go on the ground.
Right.
Those will all be delivered.
So this is very different from what I thought you were going to say.
Oh.
It was something more along the lines. If you are near my house on the 25th between the hours, what do you say, 4 and 6 or whatever, I am going to have cheese balls and potato chips and dip. I'm going to have like this kind of a fruit plate.
Nope.
There'll be hamburgers and hot dogs and beer.
I wish. That means it'd be warm out.
And then I was thinking to myself, it would be hilarious if I just drove to Brad's house and showed up for this.
Showed up.
But then you started describing what it was, and I was like,
Yeah. We could do some. I got a lot of work to do this weekend, but so if anybody's trying to decide if they should order online at Lowe's.com or Home Depot, I strongly recommend Home Depot. Their online system, because I actually ordered it on Lowe's because it was something like $50 cheaper for all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, all right, whatever.
And you have to go pick it up though, right?
No. This is getting delivered.
Are you serious? Oh, that's amazing.
Well, I paid, I think, $79 to have it delivered, but
it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I was thinking they would put it aside for you, that area they have on the right there.
Yeah, no, they can. But if you're going to order stuff online and have it delivered, Home Depot's online ordering system is far superior than Lowe's. Lowe's, you just kind of hit a button and it goes off into the nether, and then you eventually get an email. And it's what I did. And then I didn't like the time that was suggested, so I canceled the order and just went on Home Depot, and then they let you pick the time it gets delivered.
Right. Nice. So, okay.
And
That's
then
cool. So the 25th is what, Monday?
Yeah. And then the next thing I got to do, which I found, actually came out from a tip from a reader. They said, find a local drywall place, not a Home Depot, to get your drywall, because here's the deal. It's a little bit more expensive. And I need to order, it's about 50-ish sheets of drywall. I think it's like 47 or something to do my whole basement. If you order it from a local place, it's about maybe $1 or something more per sheet.
Okay.
But they deliver it and they will carry it into my basement.
Ooh.
Now, keep in mind
that we're like $1 a sheet away from them just tacking it up on the wall.
Yeah. But keep in mind here that 2 sheets of drywall, typically it comes in like a 2-sheet pack sort of thing, is like 90 something pounds. Yeah. So you can imagine, I think it's worth paying that a little extra money to have them white glove it into my basement.
$2 a package. Yeah, exactly.
I should just have a whole bunch of screws and nail guns down here and be like, hey, you guys just want to like...
I got guacamole.
Yeah, guacamole. Here come the cheese balls. Why is Paul here? All right, folks, that wraps it up for today. You can find Smart Deploy links down in the comments or section below, and grab that free exclusive offer at smartdeploy.com/therot. We'll catch all of you right back here Monday, and we'll see if I get my bathroom fan installed.